Wolverine is a man who has lived for hundreds of years, seemingly. So what kinds of adventures has he gotten into that didn't make the final cut? This is the Comicstorian channel where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be looking at a short miniseries known as Wolverine Black, White, and Blood. Basically, this takes the concept of Wolverine and tells short stories about various things that happen throughout his life. So we're gonna jump to different time periods across the board with Wolverine to tell each and every one of these storylines. And just to let you know, this is one of the videos that was voted on by our Patreons over at patreon.com/Comicstorian. They wanted to have Wolverine Black, White, and Blood, but they also wanted Wolverine 2021, which will be coming to the channel very soon. So what I'm getting at is, if you want to participate in the discussion as to what videos are coming to the channel, join us on Discord or Patreon at patreon.com/Comicstorian. Alright, let's get into this fun anthology series of Wolverine. The snow continues to fall from the sky, covering the bloody bones and remains of fresh kills. The APC moves forward and the scientists continue to talk on the radio. And outside in the freezing cold, the weapon lay stuck to the large magnet. They started training him with wolves, but that proved too easy. The wolves didn't stand a chance. Next, they moved him up to the bears, but that also didn't prove as much of a challenge. The infrared cameras spin and they scan the area. Movement on the infrared. Animals watching us due west. The operator warns his team as the APC continues to chug through the snow. Outside, Weapon X breathes deeply, his breath coming out as fog in the frosty air. And they finally stop. Cut the power to the magnet, one scientist orders, and the magnet is deactivated and Weapon X drops into the snow, his combat helmet acting as both infrared visor and camera, relaying everything that he sees back to the APC. Weapon X sniffs the air. It's coming. Contact, one of the operators confirms, claws popping out of Weapon X's knuckles with a schnick. He turns as the Wendigo roars out of the frozen forest, his white fur bleached red from his latest kill. Weapon X turns, dodging the blow, slashing the monster across the gut. We're actually rooting for this to stay feral? The operator asks the scientist. The monster is in phase and it turns, stunning Weapon X across the face, cracking his helmet. He slashes again and again, knocking Logan away. But Weapon X grits his teeth, coming back in, his adamantium claws slashing again and again, drawing blood with each blow. He throws the monster to the ground, burying his claws into its chest as he squeezes its throat. Poor guy! The monster gasps at him. Weapon X raises his fist to stab him again, but the words give him pause. Urgh. He grunts, staring at the beast. Inside the APC, the scientists and the operators watch with bated breath. Do it! The scientist yells, but Weapon X is broken out of his trance. He turns his claws on himself, slashing away the combat gear, analyzing the equipment. He bellows in rage, but the sedatives are sent through his body and he falls. The magnet is reactivated and he is brought back in, alongside the body of the Wendigo. But when he is lifted into the air, Weapon X reawakens. He looks down at the pool of blood beneath him. He doesn't see the animal that they made in his reflection. He sees the man that he truly is. We now move to the second story. Blood and carnage fill the safe room as Wolverine claws across the floor. The bodies of the dead Hydra agents covering the room haphazardly, the remaining Hydra agents standing over him, their weapons aimed. Don't give me another reason to blow your head off, freak! A short time later, Wolverine finds himself strapped to a chair, with a Hydra interrogator standing by, blood dripping from his mouth from internal injuries, and several sharp and pointy objects sticking out of his body. You want to talk, hero? Or you want me to take some more swings? The interrogator asks, readying his baseball bat. This ain't the Little Leagues, bub. We're gonna play all 9 innings, Wolverine says with a bloody smile. But they're interrupted as Hydra's Grand Inquisitor steps into the room, introducing himself to Wolverine. But the X-Man just spits blood at the floor. Do you know why I'm upset right now? Wolverine looks back up at him. You just found out that your team lost World War II. The man doesn't smile, explaining that he has been hunting Nick Fury for some time, but instead his trap has caught Wolverine. So, I'll tell you what I know and you fill in the blanks. My men were watching you meet with Nick Fury 2 days ago. That Fury gave Wolverine a document. The Hydra was tasked with observing, deciding when we would try to act and capture the pair. In the snowy night, Wolverine popped his claws, launching himself at my agents. They didn't last long. You and Fury took care of my overzealous agents, saving me the trouble of dealing with them. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, you left one alive, he points out. Nick and Logan then go their separate ways, unaware that one of the agents is crawling away in the snow. That man followed you, Logan, but lost you for a brief moment in the square. He called in your location, and then you entered a nearby safe house. My agents busted down your door, opening fire immediately, drawing blood from you. You put up a hell of a fight with those knives of yours. It took 2 waves, but we took you down. Problem is, you got a few things wrong, bub, Wolverine states as he launches into his version of the story. Fury knew your agents were coming. Leave one alive and have fun, he told me, and so we fought. The remaining agent did what we needed and called in an attack. Fury shot down the agent through the phone booth seconds after he ended the call. The Inquisitor looks down at Logan. If everything is as you have planned, then I am sure you're pleased to see this. These documents that my men stopped you from burning. For a man who makes no mistakes, nothing seems to be going your way. And now you'll have to lead me to Fury. At that moment, he reaches for his phone, and the phone rings and he begins to read through the folder, which details everything about the Grand Inquisitor. But he looks back at Logan and explaining. Wolverine never had a chance. I've had my eye on him the whole time. Wolverine smiles. But you didn't have eyes on me the whole time. He explains that the agent lost him in the market, allowing him to get a duffel bag from a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, a bag that held a bomb. The second time was in the safe house. Let's pretend this is true. Where is the bomb now? Wolverine nods, explaining. Inside of me. I heal quick. The Inquisitor looks at him asking, and how are you supposed to activate this bomb? I'm not. You are. Wolverine tells him. The Inquisitor's eyes widen as he looks at the phone in his hand. The rest of the night is disturbed as the castle explodes in a shower of rubble. Now our third story. The motorcycle roars down the lonely road, winding through the snow-capped Canadian border. Logan breathed deep, loving the open road. He can handle the cold. He stops for a moment on the side of the road, taking it all in. But when he stops, he realizes something is in the air. Something dangerous. He can hear the cries coming from nearby, and without hesitation, he begins to trudge through the forest, his boots crunching in the snow. It's there that he finds a cabin, and he quickly crosses the clearing to it, and from the inside, he can smell the blood. Inside, he finds 2 dead people. One a state trooper. The baby's in the corner, still crying. Logan looks at it amazed that the kid isn't hoarse from its screams already. Probably why he didn't hear the penny drop. He glances at the window, but it's too late. 9 hitmen stalk across the clearing. Logan walked straight into a trap. Once again, he doesn't hesitate, taking the child, pushing him inside of the unlit stove. Sorry, kid. For your own good. He whispers and he turns back to the window, trying to call out to the men. Don't shoot! Gunfire erupts from the still forest, rounds cutting through the cabin, splintering the wood, ripping through Logan's body. He stumbles from the barrage, dropping to the floor, and in seconds, the professionals enter the cab. Clear! They call to each other from their comms, and one stalks the room regarding Logan's body. Oh, hell. It's not him, he whispers, and as they all stop, they can hear the baby crying. One opens the stove, shocked by what they find. Holy crap! There's a baby in the stove! What kind of sickness? He begins to say, but his words are cut short as Logan rises, stabbing him through the head. Bellowing in rage, his eyes go red as he moves through the room, adamantium claws cutting through the first team before they even get a shot off. Before the second team can push, Wolverine comes flying out of the door, rounds piercing his body. But he's already lost in a rage, and it's only a matter of moments, because no one survives. A short time later, lights of a state trooper's car begin to fill the cabin. He holds his weapon as the bloody Logan steps outside with the baby. Got a baby here with me, bub. I ain't no part of this. No need for the peace. Wolverine calls. The cops are shocked, telling Wolverine the rest of the story. Turns out he was dirty and he was helping smuggle weapons across the border. His partner found out and made him quit. The crew wasn't happy, so they decided to make an example out of the partner and spring a trap. Sounds to me like you have a debt to pay, Wolverine tells him as he hands over the baby. The rage has ended. Logan turns and stalks away, into the night, into the cold. The cold he can handle. Story 4. Oregon. Dr. Price is working on a cure for the X gene. Professor X sent Logan to check in on things, and when he arrived, he found the doctor's daughter, who informed him that her father had gone missing, but something smelled off as soon as Wolverine stepped into the town. Donning a uniform, he sets out into the woods. Blood is in the air. He stalks through the cold forest, but that was when he smelled him. He whirls, claws popping, but he's slow and the hunter smashes into him hard. It was almost too easy, Logan. You're slipping up, old man. Sabretooth laughs at him, baring his fangs, and Logan stands prepared to fight. What's the doctor to you, Creed? He demands, but Sabretooth sneers, explaining that his employer merely heard that Xavier is sending someone. Sabretooth wanted to see who. What did you do to him? Wolverine demands, his blood beginning to boil. Ha! His begging got boring, so I put it to an end. He makes much better worm food than he did a man. The two launch themselves at each other with roars of rage, claws ripping through flesh, and both men splatter the snow with blood. What's the matter, Creed? You're scared of whoever's holding your leash? Wolverine asks as he slashes the mutant across the chest, but Sabretooth's claws dig into his cheek. I have no master, unlike you. Now be a good dog and play dead. They both separate, both men breathing heavily as blood drips from their wounds and claws. Murdering a random man to ruin my day is senseless, even for you, Creed, Wolverine says to his enemy. But Sabretooth smiles. I love to ruin your day, Logan. And it puts cash in my pocket. Wolverine leaps, but his blow is caught by Sabretooth, who admonishes him for being slow. Wolverine demands to know who hired him, but Sabretooth continues to teach him, explaining that he was given an envelope of cash to make the doctor disappear. They told me to leave no trace, but I thought it'd be more fun this way. He stops as Wolverine headbutts him hard in the nose. Stop falling for the same moves, even after all this time. It's embarrassing, Wolverine notes, and in a rage, Sabretooth lashes out, trying to take off Wolverine's head. But Logan ducks the blow, stabbing his claws deep into the mutant's chest. Blood pours from the wounds as Sabretooth stumbles back. Is that all you got, Logan? Barely tickles. Wolverine stalks forward. That wheezing you're doing doesn't sound like giggling to me. But Sabretooth smiles. You sure that's me? Wolverine's eyes widen as he realizes the doctor is still alive. Rushing through the woods, Sabretooth's taunts disappear as he puts a distance between them. He finds the man bleeding and tied to a tree. Wolverine gets to him safely, bringing him back to town. And a short time later, he stands in the hospital room. The doctor thanks him, asking if there's anything that he can do to repay him. Logan merely motions to his daughter. Find a new line of research, Doc, for your daughter's sake, he says quietly as he turns to leave. Now our next story. Logan's suit is in tatters. Blood oozes from several wounds on his body, including the claws that he popped out of his knuckles. Next to him stands Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, her own dress tattered, covered in blood. They stand in 2K, the world's highest skyscraper located in the high town of Magipor. They came here to help a friend, but now they've lost their powers. How sad of a pair you two look as you stare death in the face, Sanzu says with a smile. She holds Tiger, their friend, by the throat, the life force being drained out of her. You've tried so hard to save your friend, yet all you could do is watch as I claim her soul. Helpless to stop me because I've stolen away your precious powers. Fear not, you're next, she tells them. The Underworld boss is flanked by Beastie Brute and Soulscream, her muscles. I hate bleeding, almost as much as the old man, and I hate losing, Kitty snaps. She launches forward, punching hard at Beastie Brute. But her hand crumples against his abs, and Logan can hear the sound of bones breaking. Soulscream reaches out for the back of her head, but Kitty begins to scream as her soul is torn apart. Brute whirls, punching her hard, sending her across the room, but is caught by Sanzu, who begins to drain her life force. Leave her alone! Logan bellows as he launches himself across the room, slashing at Soulscream. But the man dodges, attacking and reaching out for Logan. Fight all you want. My wound healed instantly. Yours will simply bleed. Logan knows that he's right. Without his healing factor, his body is already slowing down from his popped claws and adamantium bones. Brute hits him from behind, smashing him into the ground. The blow would have broken him, but his metal skeleton holds up. Soulscream grabs him, lifting him up as Logan feels his soul being ripped out of his body. But even then he begins to smile, knowing that he knows something that they don't know. Kitty Pryde was trained to be a master assassin. She twists, backhanding Sansu in the face, causing the mobster to stumble right into Beastie, the life force draining from both, staggering Sansu. Both begin to fall and the mobster is knocked away. Suddenly, Kitty phases through the floor. "Hey, Patch, check this out! Powers are active again!" she shouts. Logan can already feel his strength returning as he kicks away Soul Scream and slashes the man across the stomach. But the mutant heals instantly. "Weak as you are, I can still take you down before you recover enough to be a threat." Logan nods, retracting his claws. "You think?" Soul Scream lashes out with a punch, but Logan quickly dodges it, twisting to avoid another, dodging back from a haymaker, and then he rushes forward, punching out with both fists, popping his claws through Soul Scream's face. Logan is the best at what he does, and what he does isn't very nice. "Heal this!" As they help Tiger off the floor, she questions if both Patch and Kitty are alright. "Kids like me, she'll be alright." Logan grunts. "Up yours, old man, that still hurt." She grins at him. And a short time later, the trio are eating and drinking at the Princess Bar. Tiger thanks them for their aid in settling the Underworld matter. "It's what friends do, darling," Logan explains to her as they enjoy their drinks. Kitty nods, explaining that on Magipor, she doesn't have to worry about being a superhero. Tiger smiles, lifting her glass, asking them both to stay for a time so that they can have some fun. Hear, hear, they all cheer as they clink glasses. Next story. The night is cold. Snow falls around them. The ground is splattered with blood, and Wolverine twists away from the Silver Samurai, raising his claws, blocking the incoming blow. The past. Amiko became his daughter when her dying mother begged him to take her in. He took her to Mariko and asked her to help him fulfill that promise, and they swore to raise her together, but they both live dangerous lives. They decided to leave her in the care of a boarding school in Yamaguchi. There, Amiko was surrounded by people who took care of her, taught her, and provided her everything that she needed to know. Everything. Except family. From the school, Amiko is kidnapped in the night, stolen by the Silver Samurai, Mariko's brother. That night, both Wolverine and Mariko traveled to the samurai's fortress. His voice was full of malice when he explained that he took Amiko because both Logan and Mariko had been neglected. They didn't deserve their daughter, though he promised that if they could defeat his 30 warriors, he would return her. And so it began. 13 ninjas emerged from the darkness of that snowy night, striking using subterfuge and shurikens. Blood splattered as Logan and Mariko went to work. Next were 10 Ronin, masterless warriors out to prove themselves. Claw and katana met the Ronin's charge. The ground, it was stained with the blood. 6 Sohi, warrior monks. Despite their belief that they were on the side of good, the Sohi fell. Next were 2 samurai, master swordsmen. They fought through into the evening, blades clanging against blades and claws. One sweep on Mariko's sword, slashing her across the arm. The wound wasn't fatal, but it slowed her. When it was over, Logan lamented the samurai's knowledge being taken from the world. But the Silver Samurai was next. They fought, and Logan's body was already tired and weak from the ordeal, but his claws broke the samurai's blade and rendered his armor, leaving him wounded in the snow. But that was only 31 warriors. Logan and Mariko turned to see Amiko, armed with a katana. She raged for a long time about how Logan and Mariko had abandoned her. Her voice was full of pain. But Logan would not fight his daughter. He retracted his claws as she rushed at him, the blade piercing his chest, stabbing him through the heart. With his passing, her rage was gone, replaced by grief and regret. She fell to her knees, crying into her hands in the cold night. But Logan stirred. Logan is hard to kill. And with her rage gone, Amiko forgave her absent parents, and together, they walked off into the night to be a family. Next story. Tokyo. Wolverine chugs the bottle of beer as the rain falls around him. The docks quiet after his killing. But he stops, sniffing as he catches a whiff of a familiar scent. He turns, seeing Sabretooth leaning against the pier. "All I know is if you ain't him, if you want to tussle, you better be something more dangerous than Creed." Creed smiles as he stalks forward, his shape beginning to shift, and Mystique stands before Logan. "Oh, am I?" she says with a smile. "Where's the rogue?" "I'm in no mood for this." "Then the X-Men shouldn't have stolen my daughter. Where is she?" Logan explains as he drinks his beer that he wouldn't tell her even if he knew. He looks at Mystique and he explains, "You have to let this run its course. If you push it, you're going to lose her forever." He then turns, pulling on his mask. Take it from someone who's lost everything. Mystique pauses for a moment before launching herself at Logan. Where is she? She demands. The two clash, falling to the ground in a scrabble of blows. Logan knocks her gun away before pulling her in close. Last warning, we do this tonight and I'm liable to kill you. I wouldn't have it any other way, she says with a smile, so Wolverine slashes at her, but she leaps back, backflipping across the dock. She throws her chain, lashing it around his neck, choking him, but Wolverine cuts through the metal as she flips at him, kicking him in the face. Wolverine twists, elbowing her in the back of the head, stunning her. I'll carve the answer from your bones if I must, she snarls as she reaches for the fallen pistol. The Wolverine blocks the rounds with his claws, slashing her across the chest again. Wounded, she stumbles away towards the edge of the dock where finally she leaps into the waters below. Are you letting her go? A voice calls out from above. Yeah, Wolverine answers with a nod before turning to Storm. I'm impressed and surprised. I only caught the end of this disagreement. What did she want? So Wolverine explains that she was looking for Rogue. And with that, Storm walks off with Wolverine to, as he puts it, find a few bars left on the island that haven't been found yet. When she asks if she can join him, he tells her, yeah, I could use a friend. Last story. Wind whistles past Wolverine's ears as he plummets through the sky, slamming into the earth hard enough to create an impact crater, spooking the small creatures of the Savage Land, causing them to run. Insolent worm! You dare challenge Sauron in his own kingdom! Sauron shouts as he lands nearby, the half-man, half-pterodactyl rearing up to strike Wolverine again. He grunts as he stands, gritting his teeth in anger. Didn't come to tangle with you, bub, but if you want to dance, start the freaking music! The two mutants rush at each other. Let's drop you from higher this time and see you burst! Ah! Sauron caws. Gonna be hard to fly when I carve off your flappers, Carl! But the fight is interrupted as the jungle parts with a roaring T-Rex. Kill you later? Sauron turns to the Lizard King, using his powers to try and bend it to his will, but the dinosaur whirls its massive head, tossing the mutant aside. Wolverine looks up at the creature. Hey, you overgrown iguana! The dino leans down, snapping its jaws closed around Wolverine, swallowing him. It doesn't take long before Wolverine cuts his way out, covered in gore as the great beast falls to the ground. No simple creature such as this shall resist the power of my mind control. It defies natural order. Sauron caws as he returns, and Logan nods as he reaches down, picking up the T-Rex's brain. Guessing it might have had something to do with this. Brain's hard as a rock, like it's been petrified. Sauron explains that there's only one in the area who could have that kind of power. Goroki, a petrified man standing over his subjects, raises his arms, telling his followers that they will no longer be outcasts, that they will rise up, that they will take over the Savage Land, and then the world! Hell of a speech, Wolverine says from the trees as he pops his claws. Meh, I've made better, Sauron critiques. Goroki launches his eye beams at the pair, but they easily dodge. Always eye beams with this guy, Sauron sighs. I got a cure for that, Wolverine says as he leaps forward, slashing out the villain's eyes. As he screams, Sauron bites his arm off. Logan then finishes the job by cutting off his head. That was easy, Logan notes. He's an idiot, but he's got the resurrection thing going on. He'll pop up again. Logan just shakes his head. Not my circus. Are we done here? Sauron nods as they watch Goroki's followers fleeing. All right, let's get back to it, Carl. Wolverine snarls as he pops his claws. Don't call me Carl! Sauron bellows as they rush at each other to conclude their fight. And there you have it, a bunch of short stories about Wolverine. Recently, comic books have decided to go this anthology route, where we've got Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood, we got Harley Quinn, Red and Black, I think it is, Superman, Blue and Gold, Wonder Woman, Gold, Batman, Black and White. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole theme we're doing right now. If you guys like the idea of doing a bunch of short stories like this, let me know. We can do a whole series on them right here at the channel. But don't forget that if you want to join the vote and get a part of the next vote, because right now we're working on Wolverine 2021 and Batman the Animated Series, The Adventure Continues, go to the Patreon and join that vote. Patreon.com/Comicstorian. You can be a part of what we're voting. Every month I put one out for you guys to help me decide on. Anyway, thank you so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. And honestly, Wolverine's one of my favorite characters. I don't know why we don't cover more of his stories here, but it's time for us to deep dive into some Wolverine stuff. Thank you, and I'll see you real soon here.